Well, hello everybody. We're back again. I am solo today. Just a friendly, cute little face right here. I get this center screen all by myself, but you can see there's a beautiful woman here that is unfamiliar to all of you and is definitely not a Trexo employee. Let me introduce my next guest, Kiran. Kiran is probably one of the most raddest women I have met thus far here in Canada. She is a bad mamma jamma that has been doing some big things here in Canada. I could sit here and talk quite a bit about her, but I would like her to share what she has done because sometimes when you do it yourself, it's kind of fun to just share it yourself. But more importantly, I want her to tell how she has started and how she's come to know us here at Trexo. So let's give a good welcome to you and thank you for joining me solo today.
Thank you, Sarah. And lovely to meet all the listeners that will be listening to this recording later. I must say this has been absolutely the best intro that I've received, like out of the world, out of the world. Not that scripted, boxed intro. It's the real Kieran just introduced right there. Thank you for that. A
Welcome.
little bit about me. I was raised and grew up in army environment as my dad was a uniform guy, and was raised in India. Moved up 27 years ago in Canada, and worked my way from a fashion designer to automotive. And I always say I left the world of pearls and satins and moved on to the grease and metals. But it wasn't different for me. I think it was just bringing my personality out of how I grew up in a rough and tough environment of discipline and structure and the family background. And then sort of very well was inspired and challenged, and my curiosity, George, was all over my head, and automotive was like speaking to me that I want to go in there. But there is the common letter between army and automotive is A, and they did have a lot of commonalities of structures, systems, and both are heavily loaded with men gender presence. So I was able to do a nice transition to an environment that sounded familiar, but yet was very, very challenging to place myself. Coming to a country where I was first labeled as an immigrant and then labeled as a women leader, and then was labeled as a non-automotive person. It was fun to crack all of those and prove myself and learn and grow from people around me. There were some amazing people that came in my life that have taught me a whole lot of things. I always feel that I am very humbled and loved by that industry that has taught me and brought me to where I am and allowed me to open the doors to many others. In 2017, I opened my own consulting company and I left auto, which I thought was my first baby. So I looks like I dumped that baby at that point, and moved to auto. And it was also because I felt I was stagnating at some point because I'd kind of achieved the things that I wanted to achieve. And then, secondly, I wanted to answer the problems or the challenges that I used to hear in automotive world, whether it was at my level of sitting in executive positions, or whether I was sitting with team, whether I was just doing a Friday evening get together with work people over a glass of beer, whatever that was, there was things that you talk and you vent out and you say, you don't know my life and mine is the hardest one. And I deal with this customer and this supplier and this employee or this boss. And I often used to think that we talk about this, it's good because we vent out. But what is the solution to these? And that really, really poked me. And in 2017 said, let me just figure out what I want to do and how I want to end my professional life over the years to come. And I resigned and started a consulting company to bring consulting solutions to those questions that I always heard. So my approach has been very different to really find an answer to the day-to-day things that happen in work life and bridging that gap. And I'm very proud to say today that I'm building and launching with my experience and some tests with different companies, harmonic system, where I want to bridge the gap of business success and people fulfillment. So that's my one side of life. My second life is being a CEO of Brars. Very, very humble to take over this position about 2.5 years ago. It was, I want to say it, a South Asian food industry manufacturing company. Brand of legacy is where it's a family known name. It's a brand that is known in the family where people bring Brars to their house when they're having a family time, when they're having celebration and fun. So it is totally, totally an honor to have this position and take it from the hands of all the wonderful people that ran the company before me. And thankful to the family and the boys, the people that have been heavily involved before me, to hand over and trust me to take it over to the next levels now. So it was a ready-made plate that I had, and I just need to grow the plate now. It's a wonderful journey here. And Trexo. So being part of Mississauga Board of Trade is how I came across in one of the annual award nights when I met Manmeet, because Trexo was awarded that night. And I heard the story from Manmeet and Rahul about how they came up with this thought and how it was started and how wonderful work is being done. And I remember with Brar's founder, Mr. Dal Pabla, and I approached him and said, we would love to know more about you guys. And we visited, and it was absolutely an amazing exercise of going through the place and seeing how things are made, but overall how Traxo is touching and impacting so many lives, not just the kids, but the mothers, the parents, the family members that are all seeing that baby grow. And I remember when I was driving home, the first time I met Traxo, and it came to my mind something my grandpa used to say, that it takes a village to grow a child. You can never grow a child or raise a child single-handedly. It takes a village to raise every child. And I was like, here's Traxo also contributing to so many kids around in helping them being raised. And I think it's an amazing, there's nothing better when you can have a business and you can do your other goals, but attach it to something that personal and also be able to contribute to the community and so many lives. Like, that is the best thing, I think, if anybody can crack down in their workplaces where a lot of personal things are being fulfilled as well.
Oh my gosh.
I can go
No,
on and on.
I know. It is such a fulfilling avenue, like you said. I mean, when someone is given an opportunity, you're working, you're grinding, but to have the opportunity to fulfill, if you have that need within yourself as a personal, where you just love and thrive to guide, to give, and be a part of something,
Yeah.
it's so satisfying, and it just gives you that more momentum to drive and work harder, and to see when every kiddo, every family that can come into the office, it's different every time. And to see the faces and the parents and the experiences is just, it's never the same. And it is very fulfilling. And I know everybody on the team in Truxo, from management on through, everyone just has a phenomenal heart. It's just fabulous. But I'm glad that you guys had an opportunity to cross paths, because you get to see, and I'm just touched that it touched you just the same and you wanted to be a part of it. So thank you, because
Thank
it
you.
means a lot to us. It means a lot to families as well, because like you said, it takes a village, whether it's directly or
Yes.
indirectly, and we all need it. I
Yeah.
mean, for sure. But I'm glad you brought up one thing that caught my attention, especially being, a female, being in a leadership role. How has that been? How has that been? You filling some big shoes, and how did you get to it? I mean, you're like, da, 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 da. Oh yeah, now I'm in this leadership role. How did, like, you skip right on over that? How did you get there? How, tell me.
I'm going to share something I tell probably the young leaders or upcoming leaders, or I tell my own three girls. Always have an open door. Be open. Don't draw boxes. Don't scope yourself. Society raises you with boxes and, this has to be done this way, and your mind is trained that way. But sometimes it is the best thing to do is just to let go and have open mind and be the sponge to receive everything that is coming. You never know which door is going to open the third door for you, which was the right door for you. So you cannot decide today what is going to come tomorrow. So how can you make a decision based on that? One of my mentors says facts don't count because your facts are only visible to the best you can see. I think some of those things that I've learned from my parents and my family about, being focused and being, give your best to anything and everything you want and do the things that makes you happy, that gives you enjoyment. And work is fun, not work. You know what I mean? You're doing the work, but it is so much fun that the best way to test is when you start liking Monday mornings. If you like your Monday mornings, you're doing something that you adore and are passionate about. So to answer your question, to reach that level, I think growing up and when I started my professional life, even though I started as a fashion designer and that was my dream to be for the rest of the life, an auto came in front of me and it was few challenges which kind of poked me that, you know what, why don't I just go for 6 months, put a check mark to this thing, and then I'll come back to my designing world. But as soon as I stepped in, the doors and doors opened up and I started enjoying it. It was robust, it was challenging, it was questioning me. And I had to put a lot of effort. It was fun, but I also had to prove myself. And maybe my personality is such that I like when things are thrown at me where I have to solve something and I have to prove myself. So I kind of moved into it. But when I joined from a flat out, starting elementary position. What worked for me to reach to the level of business leader is taking whatever was coming at me. Because what I learned is as I was plugging my way in different positions, all I was gathering and learning is different pieces of the business. And by the time I was ready, for me, ready was I wanted my girls to be in high school so that I can kind of come out of 9 to 5 and be more open to control my time. I was able to get to the management because there's no 9 to 5 in management positions and higher. So you have to have that flexibility to figure it out how you're going to balance your home and life, and balance becomes your favorite word at that time, and then you quickly realize balance doesn't exist. So yesterday I was talking to one of my colleagues and she's like, so what do you follow if not balance? And I'm like, oh, I had spent 5 years probably to figure out how to balance my home and work, and didn't work. Then I thought, you know what, it's balance is not probably a good word. Maybe I'm going to learn how to juggle. And I love that word, juggling. But then I also realized when you're juggling, you're dropping something. And then there was one day one of my daughter was saying, in your juggling day today, I guess I'm not important enough for you to give me time. And I was like, oh my God, now whoever doesn't get attended is going to say I'm not important enough. And then I was like, this juggle is not going to work either. What finally, and this is 3 years ago story. I was at a concert and somebody was playing piano on the stage. And this person said how the song he's going to play, how much work has been behind the scene. I don't know all the musical terms, but the meaning was the effort to write the lyrics, to the music, the note, the keys and the tuning of different instruments. Like there's so much that is done, and they're all individual things that are brought together for you to hear that, amazing, beautiful song or the music that we hear, which is, honey to the ear. And it quickly made me realize that is how life is. That is how families are. That is how workplaces, and that is how business is. So then I'm like, if a musician can harmonize and bring harmony to the music, why can't we business leader harmonize our world? So that is from where my journey started to figure out harmony in running my house, harmony in running my business, harmony between me and all the people around me. It's not that you're dropping and ignoring. It's just that you're so close and open to communication. And I think communication is the key word to harmony. To communicate, and they're aware that, okay, today Kiran needs to work 12 hours. So family, today I'm invisible for you. And they respect because I communicated to them to bring them to my harmony. And if I need to go home today because kid needs attention, my work people know that don't bother Kiran. She has something. She rarely does that. So when she's doing it, let her be. I think that open communication and that approach of creating harmony around you so far is working great. So I'm open always to share this with people.
It's a great way to put it because, like you said, what is truly the meaning of balance? Because you might give me a definition that's truly not the same
Yeah.
for me or
Yeah.
someone else.
Yeah.
It just isn't suited as a catch-all for everyone. And I like that you brought, I don't like balance, juggling or harmony. It
Just
has to
there's not
be.
enough hours in a day, and especially for us as women that are mothers and, have friend circle and expectation in houses, and extended families of your in-law side or your cousins. And there's so many people. How are you going to entertain them? And we have those genes and DNA in ourselves. We don't like sitting. We just love nurturing everybody because we feel like nobody can run on their own. We need to do something for them. That's in our DNA. It's never gonna go. So how are you gonna balance? And then we cross 40 and then the reality hits because you're running down. Your power is going away because you took on so much that you forgot there's such thing called as myself, me, and I.
What is that? I don't know.
And then you say, welcome to myself, right? And then you're trying to figure it out. And you sometimes end up frustrated because you're not able to figure it out because you already created this castle around you that you have to maintain now.
Right? You bring up a fabulous point. You work so hard to achieve so many life
Yeah,
goals.
there
Okay,
you go.
now you have, like you said, a castle. Now I gotta maintain.
Then there's a castle at work. There's a castle at home that we nurtured. There's a castle of our kids because now they have expectation. Mommy used to cook this for me. What happened to my mommy changed, right?
Yeah, you're always mommy. It doesn't matter how old they
And
are.
then at
Always.
some point, your friends are going to say, you're not that friend anymore. You don't come to the get togethers anymore. You didn't call me. And you're like, what? You were like last second to the list. And they're like, who's last? I'm like, me. I don't even know if I addressed that ever.
I know you can
So I would
constantly
say
do.
my last 5 to 7 years of journey has been finding that me or I and bringing that harmony back between all these different castles. And I created my own castle that is I. And I call it a La La Land. And it is how do I harmonize my La La Land while making all the people to the best of my ability happy around me?
Good point. Do you think when 6 years ago that you were just so focused on your work goals? Was it just a shift in, just wanting to really make, when you started into the ventures of work world or in the sense of just, I have these goals that I want to attain and I'm now going to set forth and move in motion. Do you think just having that just so focused,
I wouldn't say that. I sort of had structured my life as being the mom for the longest years, and I
Hmm.
waited to kind of scale up my business and work life after they were grown up to that they could take
Sure.
care of themselves. So it's a funny thing when I gathered them all in one evening and I said, "Showtime! Now it's me time." So you guys, I have nurtured you enough that if I'm not coming home at 5 and I'm coming at 7, you guys should be fine. And they were very respectful and I'm glad and I would say grateful that I got that support from my family to support me. You can't do it without that. I think what was missing component was no check mark or expectation for myself, that if I'm tired, Kiran Mann, stop.
Yeah.
You are allowed to go and rest for an hour. You can tell a kid or another family member to do something for you. You don't have to take one of very close person in one of the organization I'm part of. I was carrying a lot of these things and I had my Starbucks in my hand, my files, my bag in my shoulder, and I'm walking behind her. She was guiding me to a room and things started falling and she's like, "Do you need help?" And I was like, "No, I'm okay. Thank you." And at some point, that file started slipping, and she looked at me, and I was like, "Yeah, I think I can use some help." And she looks at me, laughs. We're very young, way younger than me. And she said, "It is okay to take help." The way she said it, that statement has glued in my brain. And now I
Hmm.
say, I do need help. Hey, I don't want to pick up the bag. Can you? I
Yeah.
don't need to prove myself that I have man strength. Can you please pick up the bag for me? Or ask the kids, can you go guys get groceries for me because I'm tied up? So it's same thing. Though you take a village to grow everything. So why take upon everything on yourself? You gotta delegate and have all those wonderful people around you to
Hmm.
support you. So I would say the change was at knowing that. I think we don't often think we know, but we don't. To
Hmm.
know that it is okay to have some peaceful time and sit. It is okay to relax. It is okay to give yourself time. And it is okay to do an activity that you liked. And it is okay to watch a movie or go to a restaurant that you wanted. Not that as long as my partner, spouse, and kids are happy and they agree to a restaurant, I'm okay, I'll just tag along. No,
Yeah.
I want to eat Mexican today. And I want to eat in this place. It is okay to be. There are little things I think that we miss as a woman, and more if you're a woman and a mother, that get neglected over the years, and then you start burning out. And I think
Yeah.
it was more awareness of that, self realization of that. But then the hardest part was to apply it. Because when you apply, you change. And
Mm-hmm.
people around you question you for that. You're not
Mm-hmm.
the same person that was last year. Last year, I told you to make this for me, you used to make it. Today, you're saying you're tired, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is change for people around you. But what comes in handy is the mindset in business when you change. It's a change management that comes with resistance. So
Mm-hmm.
does in family and everywhere else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting journey.
It brings me up to a point because I read something of, and I am going to read this because of what you're the founder of the M2M Business Solutions, and I love that, and I was like, I like this. Just overcome yourself. Want to talk
So
about that?
sure. It's actually part of, we already touched on the word harmony. So
Yeah.
I have built a system that I've used it over the time. I've applied it on my life. And I think that's the extracts we just talked from my life as well. It's a system I have, and I'm robust in a very robust way, applying it at Bras right now and
Mm-hmm.
a few other companies, is what I call harmonic system, where your focus is not just business driven, or your focus is not just people driven. There are companies that are people first. There are companies that are very, I would say, financial objective driven. What I am recommending, or I'm applying, I guess, in the companies I'm involved in, is bringing both together. I feel there is opportunities and certain structures and certain cultural things that can be applied in the business that allows you to stay still focused on your financial objective, but allow every person that is allowed and working with you to attain that business success to have a personal fulfillment, to be happy, and happy from within. I shouldn't say that's why I use the word joy. We had a debate in one of our leadership meeting that isn't happy and joy same thing. And I said, it took me years to find the difference between that, because Wikipedia and all those dictionary online weren't doing any justice. They seemed so same. And it took me a while to figure out happiness is very transactional and short term. You buy a car, you get happy. You get promoted, you get happy. You got a promoted title, you got happy. You got a raise with dollars, you get happy. But they fall apart after some time, because after some time they're not new, they're status quo. Joy is something that comes from within, which never stops. It is a long-term process. And when you're happy from within, everything you see around will be amazing, because you're self happy from within. So joy movement is one of the segment of harmonic system, and the other part is actually the happy organization. How do you create your organizations that are happy, which is more about strategy and structure part of it. But joy movement is, I have kicked it off with the first program, Lead Her, which is strictly for women. And I've been asked why I made for women and not men. Not being partial, just that it was just that I am also a woman. So I wanted to dedicate to the womanhood that way. And it is a program from my own experiences of how I've overcome so many things. So joy stands for just overcome yourself. You have to just overcome yourself to find that inner joy from within. And it is an effort to share what has worked for me, to find that joy, to find the harmony in your life, and still stay focused and become the mom bosses in the business world. So Women Program Lead Her is sort of like the first program, and we're about to launch some few more other programs for different the other gender, if I want to say it, but also different generations of ages that are going through different things in life, and how can they use this information to make those changes in their life and be happy in whatever they're doing.
That's powerful. Where would someone go to find that? Is that on your website? Where would they
So
go?
it's actually the Just Overcome Yourself website exists, but I'm in about 10 days about to launch kiranmann.com, which will
Ooh.
have, yes, that will become the hub of getting into all these different places and utilize these. I actually on Lead Her, if there's any of your listeners that are women and business leaders or anybody that is interested in such thing, if you go to Lead Her, there is a 7-day free program which allows you to just for 7 day apply some little basic things and get that sugar rush in you of seeing how the difference is, and then there's steps to do it. So one bite at a time. We always harmonize our life, so don't sign up to something that is huge and you don't have the time and you get frustrated about that. Take a little bite and see how that works and allows you to consider more.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to ask this. You're a pillar within the community. Women, we know there's women leaders out there, but let's be honest. I mean, at times, sometimes you're always having to chase the eight ball or being behind and you're always having to push a little harder, unfortunately, and for different realms. It depends on, you know, whichever work aspect you're in or whatever you're trying to drive for. How has that been, and how has it felt to over how have you felt just to overcome the barriers and just the gratification to reach and achieve and be like, I've gotten to the I'm sure there's more you have want to achieve, but you've gotten to a lot of those goals, I would imagine, in yourself within to bring you that joy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when it comes to joy, absolutely. I think I live in a day where I'm happy and grateful for anything and everything around me. I wake up with the gratitude of being thankful that I'm breathing. Now I woke up. There's so many people that don't woke up after their sleep. I think understanding and acknowledging all those small little things of how critical and important they are. Look at Trexo. How many people's lives are being touched? How many people can say, I am so grateful to Trexo for bringing this to my life, and I'm being grateful for that. And for your team and your employees, how amazing it is to be grateful that you have an opportunity to work and make money, yet contribute to somebody's life, to a family. So I would say for me, it has been the same way, being grateful of every little milestone that came in the way. Yes, I did have those goals to achieve and things that I wanted to do. And that's, I think, my personality. I just go focused on that. I want to do this and then I'll keep on doing. What has worked for me is keeping negative Nancy carpet away. That's what I call it, literally. The
Yeah.
negative Nancy carpet, I feel like, is a showstopper for your growth, for your happiness, for finding joy within, and, not seeing the wonderful things that you have around you and being grateful for that. It just takes your focus on everything that is not working and forgetting of all the things that are actually working. That
Absolutely.
staying focused on that, and every time, we're human. Every day we're going to come across something that's going to make us unhappy. It's going to make us cranky, or you're going to deal with a person and you're going to say how difficult this person is. Can they not just understand it is basic? You have to kind of deal with it, but then come back and remind yourself of other side of the coin.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to start closing and ask you one thing in the sense of with Brars and Trexo, with that relation starting and evolving today and hopefully years to come, where do you see that going? And what would you like it if you have to be able to keep a hand in it? Well, what would you like it to see it do and evolve within the community itself too? How could we work together even more within our community as well and get out there?
Yeah, I think you touched on the point of, first of all, that what was the intention of, joining hands and having this strategic partnership of being able to contribute together to community in different ways. I think the thought started from us as Brars believing that we're all about. It was like our values. Certain values are similar. So there's that value alignment, if I want to call it, that kind of triggered me that, I want to speak to him and meet and know more about this. It started from there. So Bars, as I said, is all about fun family celebration. Family. Trexo is contributing to that family. Trexo is also, creating fun moments for them. And it is also bringing those celebrational moments for them. So there's that commonality that I noticed. And we have been kind of in the search of finding homes or places or partners, if I want to call it, that were very synergetically in alignment. that can stand for them, but it also stands for us. And that's where Trexo and Brars has that alignment there of contributing to the community and the families. It's like, if you got this, it is okay to share a piece of that. It's like a give back. This is the community and the culture. Mr. Dal Pabla and I often have this discussion that a company cannot be a company if the community and the people in that community did not understand you or believe in you or respect you or are loyal to you. So this is just a way to give back to the people that have made Barars what Barars is.
That's awesome. Well, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being a pillar in the community for myself, for all of the women, the young ladies that are coming up in college and high school that are looking for role models, because you're exactly that. And
Thank
we
you.
need more of them. And I appreciate you and thank you for what you're doing, and keep going, because I'm going to be a little envious woman over here watching what you do for sure. And thank you for
That
supporting us
is
over here at Trexo as well.
No, that is very kind of you. But I think one thing, and you will probably agree to that. I think it's our job to from the places where we have grown, and many times we hear from our grandmas, our moms, and now we talk about the same, these are the struggles I went through to become this. You don't even know. So if we have been able to figure out or bring it to this far, I think it's our job to pass on that baton, to open the doors, to educate and share that learning to the next generation, whether it's women or all the people that are in the business world. This makes one step easier for them and able to take over from where we stop, not restart everything and trying to figure out it all over again. And Traxo, I think I am super, super excited. It's a new relationship that we just kicked off. And with all the things that we have discussed and have seen, I've visited a few times Traxo, and I keep forgetting how much time it takes to create one. And Manmeet a couple times has tested my brain on that. And I look forward to some road shows I think are being planned and meet people. I hope we're able to support in a little bit of the big thing that everybody has on their plate.
Sure. Well, we look forward to having the ongoing relationship with you and Brars. And again, we thank you for everything that you do. And I thank you for your time. Thank you for just making some time for me. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
it.
Sarah. You just made this such a wonderful conversation. Really appreciate your approach, and I love this open dialogue conversation. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.